Hello and welcome to this week's Ruby Shoes podcast, bringing you the very best of local entertainment across East Anglia each and every week. This week, West End Magic comes to the Sheringham Little Theatre this coming Saturday the 23rd of March. It's London's longest running theatre magic show and it comes direct from Leicester Square Theatre. We'll be featuring British champion of magic, Oliver Tabor. Then we talk to one of Suffolk's most famous people you've probably never heard of. Plus, we have a roundup of some of the most exciting live shows on offer this week around the region. And after hearing the sad news that Suffolk resident Steve Harley of Cockney Rebel had died, we have a tribute to him too. First, we hear from a Suffolk musician who's putting on a fantastic night of music you won't want to miss at the Spa Pavilion in Felixstowe. So my next guest has played huge stages, including Glastonbury, the Royal Albert Hall. He's toured with the likes of Steve Harley's Cockney Rebel, Susie Quattro, Sister Sledge, just to name three of the many, many people he's played with. And he's probably one of the biggest Suffolk-based stars you may never have heard of. Robbie Gladwell joins me now. Robbie, you're the guitarist's guitarist. So my husband knows you because my husband is an avid guitarist. And he said, well, of course, Robbie Gladwell, everyone's heard of him.
Oh, bless.
So frustrating for you because when you go and see a band, you do very often, you know, the lead singer. And
yeah, you don't always know who the guitarist is. Well, your fan base does always, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which is fine, really. But, you know, people that hear music or they might hear a few Rebel songs or Quattro songs won't know necessarily who you are unless they're avid followers of the band or whatever. You know, I mean, on our site that we've got sort of different bands. I mean, that we've got over 6 million followers. But that's you know, that's the band thing anyway, isn't it? In that sense, you know,
it is.
It's just.
You're followed by people who actually know proper music, don't you? Not people who just.
Well, yeah, and also some quite famous players. So you know, so in that sense, it's a bit of a community for players as well. In actual fact, and on my Facebook site, because I run the guitar workshop here and everything, we teach people here and also teach people how to build guitars. That's the other thing I do, and the scientific side of stuff as well. So in between playing, this is where I am.
That's brilliant. Do you do that based in Suffolk?
Yeah, just outside of Sudbury.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fantastic!
I'm based in. Yeah,
you're literally teaching people to build their own guitar, but also learn how to play it.
Yep. Learn to play it, repair it, build it, and so they come on courses with me to learn how to do that. And then we've got a teaching studio upstairs and a recording studio upstairs as well. So we do some of the recording here. And over the years, I've done a lot of sessions in Abbey Road and all that sort of stuff. Did a lot of the East Enders, all the East Enders stars that had sort of a guitar on. I was doing the guitar playing back in the day. All that stuff, you know, lots of different sort of things. Half the time I'd turn up for a session, I wouldn't know who I was playing for until after I got paid.
And the reason we're talking today is because we're very lucky that we've got you coming to the Felixstowe Spa Pavilion on Saturday the 30th of March with your own show, the Robbie Gladwell Experience.
That's right.
That night.
Yeah.
I want to ask you more about your career, but tell me about the show as well, because this isn't just going to be you and a guitar on the stage. There's a whole lot more involved, isn't there?
There's a whole lot. We've got a full brass section. We're going to be doing sort of music from the 1950s up to present day, and mainly guitar bass. So you'll hear some of the original players. We've got Marty Wilde's guitarists coming in. We've got some amazing musicians sort of coming in and guesting it here. So I'll be telling a bit of a story about the history of sort of pop and rock, you know, going back over the last 70 years, in effect, you know, the type of guitars they would use, the artists, a few anecdotes that people probably won't know unless they've been in the trade. So it's a few funny stories, and we'd be doing some of the songs to back it up. Oh, so cool. we got some girl singers with us. My wife sings, and she'll be doing things that lots of different songs.
That's going to be a fantastic show. That just sounds right up my street. I'm going to have to take my husband to that, definitely.
Oh, you've got to come. You've definitely got to come to that, yeah. Because it can be lots of fun.
I took him into Albert Lee a few years ago, and embarrassingly, I'd never heard of Albert Lee, and he almost cried when we got there because he couldn't believe that. He said, how do you even remember that I talk about somebody like that? And I said, I wrote it down. I hadn't. I mean, when you look back at his back catalogue like yours, you think, oh my goodness, why do I not know this person?
But no, it's always the way. I mean, some of the people he played with, so it's just incredible as well. So we've had a bit of a parallel career, really, in that sense. I know Albert very well, and done a few gigs with him over the years as well, sort of country. And because the thing is, guys like us, we don't just play one style. We have to be able to go and be able to do bit of jazz guitar, a bit of pop guitar, a bit of rock, bit of everything, really. We don't, you get sort of famous bands that just do rock and just do blues, but their playing is a bit limited in the sense that's all they do. But with guys like myself, we're technically called sidemen because we play for the famous people. And so, I have to be able to go into a band and play better than their guitarist. Otherwise, I don't get the job.
So, forgive me, but how do you still have to practice to be that good, to keep that level?
Yeah, I mean, it truly is. Playing the guitar is actually quite difficult. They say you can play in a day, play 3 chords, you can play. That's sort of true, but the truth is be able to play a range of songs, and be able to do all the guitar solos. It's not like riding a bike at all. It's more like falling off a bike if you don't keep up with it. So I play pretty much every day as well because I'm teaching, and when we're busy, it can be 2, 3, 4 gigs a week. So it is quite busy. And when we're on tour, I mean, well, when I was with Susie Quattro and my son William was born. After 3 weeks, I went to Australia for 6 months. He came back and he was sitting up.
That's the hard bit. It sounds really glamorous, but actually it's hard. You're away from.
There's very little glamour in it, but there's a lot of camaraderie in that sense. With the guys in the band and things like that. And the truth is, you get a lot of semi-pro bands that get infighting and things like that because you've got a conflict of interest with people that don't do it for a living. They all want this, they want that. So, but with us, we're hired to do that job, and so consequently, there's never any issues in terms of my ego needs to be as big as the stars. It's not at all. It is actually just playing the part and just, having fun. With Susie, we had a hairdresser, we had people doing the clothes. Susie and I had the same haircut for about 5 years.
I love that. That's brilliant.
Not now. I'm going
to check that out. Look, for our Ruby Shoes listeners, you see, this is a Zoom interview that we're pre-recording, and I can actually see Robbie and he can see me, so I could have checked that out. Look,
absolutely.
Do you have a style of music that on a rare day off that you like to play, that's something you're always drawn to, or do you like lots of different styles?
I love jazz. There's a little story. When I was 8 years old, I was taught classical guitar. And then when I was 13, I started having lessons with the jazz guitarist for the BBC Radio Variety Orchestra. And the leader of the orchestra for the BBC was a guy called Martin Lukins way back in the day. And he ran a school of music and drama. And I was a young guy, went there, walked down the road, my 2 and 6, and paid for my lesson. And I used to take Beatles songs along with me so that he could show me the chords to those. But the thing is, because I started so young, I could hear the chords. But I said, there's one chord here I can't. I took my little 45 record down there. I said, one chord in this Beatles song I can't quite make out. And he played it. I said, no, that's not right. I said, that's not right. He said, it is, boy, it is right. And then Martin Lukins happened to walk by and he said, he's right, And then the funny thing is, from that, a couple of weeks later, my sister was singing with me as well. She'd come and he said, we've got a Christmas show on with the actual radio orchestra at my school. Would you like to come and be our cabaret? So I said, yes, of course. And so we had a sort of like a 30-piece orchestra behind us with me and my sister singing for sort of Everly Brothers stuff. And anyway, they liked it so much, they took us on the road with them. So we toured with them for 6 weeks, the Lyceum Ballroom, Blackpool, all around these big rooms, which is fantastic. So that was my first taste of being on the road playing with proper professionals. And it all went wrong from there, really.
Not at all. Oh my goodness. You've literally just talked about one of my bucket list things, and that's to be able to sing with a proper orchestra, a live orchestra behind you. I think when you can literally feel that music going through you.
Oh, it's fabulous. I've been very lucky over the years to do just that many times, with the orchestra and things, and being the MD for some of these things as well, with the conductor. So with Cockney Rebel, the early Cockney Rebel albums, they had orchestra with them. It's the same guy that wrote the orchestral parts for the Beatles, and he was a young man then, and he's only about 3 years older when he did them for Steve and things. And lovely guy, Andrew, and he came on tour with us, and he was trying to be rock and roll and sort of swearing in the right places, things like that, thinking it was funny. And it was sort of like, it's just like your mum sort of suddenly saying a swear word, and you think, oh. What are you doing? Stop it.
You are. Because
Exactly.
Cockney Rebel, well, obviously before the fallout, but they're quite I want to say posh boys, but you know what I mean. They weren't kind of
Oh yeah. They're all middle class
yeah.
boys, you know. And Stuart Elliott, the original drummer and the drummer with us now, he played for Kate Bush and Paul McCartney and lots of people like that. And he's been in the charts a year with with Kate Bush running up the hill.
Brilliant.
So, you know, and so we're going to try and get Stuart to come along and do some Kate Bush stuff as well. So let's keep your fingers crossed for that. But we've got some really, really good musicians, unbelievable musicians coming. They're all sidemen like me, and they've done lots of different shows. We're not a covers band at all. You know, we're not a tribute band.
No.
So we're playing songs in our way and bringing them to, and then, you know, with the brass section and everything, you know, people will love it, and with the stories as well. So it's a night of entertainment and good music going for the decades.
Robbie, I couldn't let you go without asking about your guitar collection, because if you're anything like my husband, you wouldn't be settled just for one. What's the sort of the guitar collection? What size is it now?
Well, I'll start with how many's your husband got?
Too many.
Well, how many's too many?
Too many. At one point, I think he did have about 12, but he's whittled down a bit because he's a multi-musician and he likes keyboards as well. And they take up a lot of space. And so I had to put down in the nice spots where I say, look, not being funny, but something's got to give here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, you see, now I don't have that problem because I've got my own studio here. So if you say at least 10 or 12 times more than your husband got.
Yeah, I thought that might be.
And it's a bit of a collector's thing as well. So if I take you for a little walk, this is the luxury tour.
Brilliant. I love a live tour on the Ruby Shoes podcast.
A live tour.
Robbie Gladwell's recording studio here with his guitar collection. Oh, we've got some what I would call those bongo drums. They're probably not called that at all. But they're
we've got all the big congas and everything like that. The drum kit, one lot of guitars.
Yeah.
Another lot of guitars here. Another lot of guitars.
Oh my!
Yeah. And then I've got a stock room through there with another 100 guitars.
Oh, good. So it's a silly.
Oh, and some more here.
Oh wow! Probably a silly question, but is there a favourite? Is there one that's much coveted?
No, there's some. I have got. Actually, because we could be doing some Elvis stuff, and I've got the guitar that was used in the film, the recent Elvis Presley film. They gave it to me after the film. So I have got that guitar.
Yeah.
And people, if they want to come and see us, they'll be seeing that guitar.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same as Elvis's one. But as I say, this was actually used for the film and then given to me for my birthday after the film.
Oh,
which is fun.
Awesome. Oh, Robbie, that's amazing. You are quite literally living the guitarist's dream, aren't you? I know you've worked hard.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So Saturday the 30th of March, if you're as inspired as I am, the Robbie Gladwell experience at the Felixstowe Spa, you've got to be there. The guitarist. It's been a pleasure to talk to you today.
Yeah, now there's a link. If they find me on Facebook Robbie Gladwell, I've got the links to all these things and lots of information, lots of stories. You know, if you're into music, you'll love the stories and the people I interview as well. So that, you know, it'd be just Facebook Robbie Gladwell. And there's a link to the actual show there as well.
Fabulous. Thanks, Robbie. Yeah. Thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Nice to speak to you. Take care.
Now for Ruby Shoes Podcast, an exciting family-friendly show offering an amazing mixture of magic comedy and variety acts featuring British champion of magic Oliver Tabor. It's also featuring the magical compere Wayne Trice, plus they're going to have a special guest, and this is all at the Sheringham Little Theatre this Saturday, the 23rd of March, and I'm delighted to be joined now by Oliver Tabor himself. Oliver, welcome to the Ruby Shoes Podcast. Tell me, first of all, how you became the British champion of magic.
Yes, that's quite a line, isn't it? First of all, thank you for having me on, by the way, Stephanie. Thanks very much. British champion of magic, it's quite a title. So every year there's a magic club or society called the IBM, which is not the computer company. It's that actually stands for the International Brotherhood of Magicians, but you now see why they've abbreviated to the IBM, because that's quite a mouthful. So they're a worldwide society. They have what's called a ring in every country. Over here, we've got the British ring, which has got about 500 members. And every year they hold this British stage competition since 1939, so off the top of my head. So I entered, this is the third time I entered, 2014, 10 years ago, and did my little 10-minute routine and managed to win pretty much every award that was on offer. So I came away with four awards all in all. So apart from the comedy trophy, my act wasn't particularly funny at that point, obviously. So I got these 4 awards. So yeah, so I kind of wasn't expecting it. I went to the competition not really kind of thinking I was going to win, which is probably the best thing to do because I found you kind of perform better and you have nothing phases you. So the funny thing was I did this competition on a Thursday night, I think it was. And then I was all done. I had to relax. So I thought I was staying at a B&B not far away. So I got a taxi in so I could have maybe a drink or two, to celebrate or not celebrate, or just be able to catch up with friends. So at the award ceremony, they called out my name 4 times. So one was for the manipulation, which is kind of like the sleight of hand skill. One was for originality. One was first prize, and then they also have the Grand Prix prize, which is the British Ring Shield for excellence in magic, which is only given if you hit a certain standard of magic. So I was given all these 4 trophies, not thinking I was really going to get anything. So the funny thing was, because I got these, and these things they're not small. There's like a big trophies, and the British Ring Shield's about this size. It's massive. In flight cases, and I had no way of getting back because I came to the theatre in the taxi. So I had to leave him backstage, and luckily the stage manager was let me leave him there so I could pick up the next day. So
Amazing. And how many years does it take to get to that standard of magic?
So I first did this particular act I was performing with. I started when I was 15, and that took me. So it took me 3 goes. I was in that competition. I came nowhere first of all. Then I came third the next time I entered, and next time I then got most of the awards on offer. So I'd been doing that act at that point about 15, 20 years, I think, to get that point. Yeah. It's been a few years.
And magic has been in your life since a young boy?
Yes, pretty much. It became my life's passion, actually. I was very lucky because I found something which I loved and passionate to do. And my mum and dad were very supportive as well. So I have to give praise to them because not a lot of my young magician friends, families were quite so supportive, But they saw I had something to do. And even before I left school, I was making money from magic. So I got into magic when I was 12 years old. Got given a magic set at Christmas. That's pretty much what sparked it off. Then I discovered a magic shop in London called Davenport's Magic, which is like an old brick and mortar shop. There's not many around these days, unfortunately. But it's like something out of Harry Potter. It really was. It's like Ollivander's One Shop, if you know that from the character from the films. So you walk in and it's just stacked full of magic. But this particular shop was hidden underground in the shopping arcade of Charing Cross Station. So on the same level where you put the tickets in for the tube station to get through there, it's on that same level, and you have to know where it is, hidden like a magic shop, as you expect it to be. And it didn't look much from the outside, but as soon as you walked in, it was just like wooden cabinets filled with props and magazines and books, and just amazing, as you expect a magic shop to be. So I did that, and then from going to that shop, there's a young magicians club called the Diva Magic Club, and I met a lot of young magicians in there. And then when I left school, I went to work at Davenport's, which was a dream come true for most young magicians. There's no Hogwarts, or there wasn't a Hogwarts then. There is now, of course. Does exist in some ways.
Oh.
So, of course. So I went to work there from school and was there for 5 years. So every day I was teaching, I was learning magic. I was demonstrating magic to people coming in the shop. I was reading books. All the tricks came in. That was kind of my third education, my university, if you like. And then from that, I took a couple of years off and then come back into magic when I was about 21 or so. And then started working professionally, doing shows everywhere from Spain. I worked in an illusion bar in a place called Salou in Spain called House of Illusion. Then I came and did the holiday park circuit over here. Then started to get into theatre, cruise ships, and kind of worked out there. So yeah, it's pretty much been a lifelong love and passion.
It certainly has. And tell me about this show, because it sounds absolutely fantastic. As I've said, it's this Saturday, the 23rd of March at the Sheringham Little Theatre. Tell us what the audience can expect.
Yes, so our show is we try and put a little bit of everything in it. So there's magic, there's sleight of hand magic, there's illusion, there's mind reading, there's comedy. Plus we have guest acts as well. We'll have some speciality acts doing comedy, mind reading, juggling, ventriloquism, and that sort of thing. So in the show this weekend we have myself. So I perform kind of like very kind of visual magic, I guess, kind of elegant magic. So I turn bubbles into glass balls, make things appear and disappear. Kind of mysterious type magic, I suppose, is probably the best way to describe it. Then we got Wayne, who's our compere, Wayne Trice, who does more kind of comedy magic, based magic. He's the host as well. And then we have a guest act who is actually a guy called Roy Davenport, who, funny enough, is actually related to the Davenport magic shop that I worked in. So when I was growing up, he was like the big guy that always wanted to be like. Growing up in the Diva Magic Club, he was a member of that Young Magicians Club as well. So he was always a person I looked up to and wanted to be like. So to have him on the show is very exciting. His speciality is he does an amazing routine with linking rings, the old classic linking rings. He does a routine where he takes it from like, step 5 up to level 10. He just does an amazing routine. It's very energetic. He uses lots of rings. It's something really have to be seen. So he's doing that as one spot. So we have our guest acts doing 2 spots, and then he does another spot, which is going to recreate his grandfather's act. So his grandfather was Lewis Davenport, who set up the magic shop in 1898 in London. And he performed, he was like one of the big magicians of the day. And he's recreating his grandfather's act, dressed in a tailcoat and things. So it's the original recreation of his grandfather's act. So that will be part of it on the show on Saturday as well. So there's a bit of everything. I mean, I grew up with the Paul Daniels magic show, so I always try and put a bit of variety in it. So if you don't necessarily like loads of magic, there's a bit of comedy. If you like a bit of comedy, there's something else. There's something for everyone. And it's not a magic show for a specific audience. It's not a children's show. It's not an adult show. It's a show that anyone can come and see, like the Paul Daniels magic show. It's that sort of thing. So we've been in London for around about 11 years. So this is our second year of tour in the UK. Last year we celebrated 10 years at Leicester Square Theatre. Then we did a UK tour, and then we're back on the road this year doing another tour. So it's very exciting.
Amazing. Oliver, you've definitely sold it to me. It sounds fantastic. If you want to get your hands on the last few tickets, it's sheringhamlittletheatre.com. As I say, it's this Saturday, the 23rd of March. You can see Oliver Tabor, British champion of magic, along with Wayne Trice, and of course that special guest as well. Good luck with it all, and do keep in touch and let us know when you're next coming to East Anglia, won't you?
Absolutely will do. Yes, please. Well, you're very welcome to come to another show in the future.
What's on across Suffolk with Stephanie McIntyre. Sponsored by Ruby Shoes Podcast, your weekly entertainment news podcast. Available from your smart speaker, Apple, Spotify, or you just follow Ruby Shoes Podcast on Facebook and click on the weekly podcast link to listen.
There's a host of great shows on offer across Suffolk's magnificent theatres, and here's just a selection to tempt you. On Thursday the 21st of March at 8 p.m. at the Apex Theatre in Bury St Edmunds, following the farewell tour of her family band, Clannad, Moya Brennan is excited to take up her solo career again. Her live show has developed into a visual as well as sound spectacle with rhythm, atmosphere and vibrant harmony. She's now proud to have daughter Ashlyn and son Paul in her band, along with a remarkable harpist Cormac de Barra and violinist Claire Friel. For more details, go to theapex.co.uk. Tony Hadley swings into town on Thursday the 21st of March with his Big Swing Tour of 2024 at the Ipswich Regent Theatre. Note it's 6 p.m. start. Tony performs songs by the likes of Ella Fitzgerald, Tony Bennett and Frank Sinatra, alongside solo songs as well as Spandau Ballet hits like True and Gold that introduce the world to his iconic voice. If you miss the final few tickets on sale, then the following night, that's Friday 22nd of March, the Ipswich Regent stage will be lit up with Walk Like a Man, the ultimate multi-award-winning tribute show to the Four Seasons and Tony Award-winning true life musical phenomenon Jersey Boys. Just you try to resist classics such as Big Girls Don't Cry, Sherry and of course Walk Like a Man. Go to ipswichtheatres.co.uk for more information. Something About George, the George Harrison story, is coming to the Spa Pavilion in Felixstowe on Saturday the 23rd of March at 7:30 p.m. This is a musical biopic tribute about the so-called Quiet Beatle. This show comes to the Spa Pavilion for the first time, following its hugely successful 2023 tour, which celebrated what would have been George's 80th birthday. Starring West End actor and musician Daniel Taylor, this show tells the truly remarkable tale of one of music's most understated icons. Featuring a live-piece band performing beautiful songs such as My Sweet Lord, Something, Got My Mind Set on You and Handle With Care, the show includes incredible solo material and music from rock and roll's greatest supergroup, the Travelling Wilburys, not forgetting more than a few Beatles classics along the way. From heartbreak to hedonism and songwriting to instant success, Something About George will show you a life that was anything but quiet. Go to spapavilion.uk for more details. Also on Saturday the 23rd, this time at the Leiston Film Theatre, don't miss the chance to catch the Bootleg Shadows. Bringing their outstanding Shadows tribute to the Leiston Film Theatre for a night of foot-tapping classics. The show will encompass the Shadows' amazing career from the 1960s to the early 80s, including all the hits and popular Cliff vocals. The audience is taken on a tour of the Shadows' career, with plenty of humour to make it a night out to remember from 7:30pm. If you want more details, leistonfilmtheatre.co.uk. And finally, The Little Shop of Horrors is currently running at the New Wolsey Theatre in Ipswich, also until Saturday the 23rd of March. For more details and to get those final tickets, go to www.wolseytheatre.co.uk. Now, I was truly shocked to hear that Steve Harley, the founder and frontman of Cockney Rebel, had passed away yesterday. I last spoke to Steve in the summer of last year, ahead of his appearance at the Ipswich Corn Exchange, as part of his 50 Years of Rebel tour. Here's just a taste of our chat back then, when I asked him about their biggest hit, Come Up and See Me, Make Me Smile. I just want to ask about that song in particular to start with, because I wonder what the sort of thinking was behind it, where it was inspired, and did you know at the time that it was going to be your first number one for Cockney Rebel?
My co-producer was Alan Parsons at Abbey Road.
Yeah,
Alan was a great engineer, and we had put the ooh la la's on, backing vocals, and the guitar solo. And at 10 o'clock at night, into Studio 3, the Beatles, Studio 2, the one the Beatles were famous for. I was there for 5 or 6 albums. And in came at 10 o'clock the managing director at the time of EMI, my record company. And he'd been out to dinner and he'd had a few glasses of wine, and he sat down and said, "Is there anything you can play?" And we said, "Yeah, look, we're mixing this. And we think it's got something special going on." And we played this rough mix to him. I don't think it was the proper vocal. I think I was still going to re-sing it. And he just said number one.
Wow.
And in those days, the major labels could move mountains. You know, they had a lot of authority and power. They could go to the shops and really push a single. They really wanted to get to up the charts. They sent out their reps all over the country to the shops, and they did the job. He'd said number one, and he was determined, and it got there in 3 weeks after being released. It went up and up and up. Yeah, it's a wonderful feeling. We definitely had a feeling that we were sitting on something, if it got pushed properly, that had a good chance, Stephanie. We knew that. But you can't say, "Oh, I knew it was a hit. Oh, I knew that." You can't do that. That's crazy.
No, but you had a sort of a feeling about it.
Yes. That's the point. It was a feeling, an instinct. Instinctively, we felt something was going on here.
And then lyrically, what was the inspiration for the song?
You mean you don't know?
Go on.
Don't know?
No, I really don't know.
I think I've mentioned it. I held it back for donkey's years because I didn't want to spoil it for people. But I mean, it's really a finger poker. You know, he's cynically saying, "Come back and see me in time and I'll be the one laughing." Because it was about the breakup of the first Cockney Rebel. The 3 guys walked out on me. They walked out on me and Stuart Elliott, my drummer. Stuart still plays for me. And left us in the lurch for silly reasons. Which reason knoweth not. And I wrote about that. You've done it all, broken every code. I mean, we had a code. We were young men, and we were friends, and we had a laugh. It was hilarious out on the road. And they demanded things, and my manager and I said, "We can't give you that." Steve formed the band, and Steve's going to write the next album because he's got it all halfway written already. They wanted songwriting, and I wasn't ready for it. We were young, and I was not arrogant. I just had a game plan. And they walked out after 2 albums, and we owed EMI 3. So I made the third one, was Best Years of Our Lives, with Make Me Smile on it.
That was Steve Harley talking, who we sadly lost at the weekend, aged 73. He died at his family home in Clare near Sudbury on Sunday morning after a short battle with cancer. The singer and songwriter had a music career spanning 50 years with chart hits like Make Me Smile and Here Comes the Sun. You can always listen again to any of the Ruby Shoes podcasts via Apple or Spotify, or just ask your smart speaker to play Ruby Shoes podcast. Or you can just simply click on the weekly podcast links on our Facebook page and follow us too for all of the latest entertainment news. I'm Steph McIntyre. Thanks for listening, and we'll chat more live theatre and all kinds of entertainment in next week's episode. In the meantime, do check out our socials at Ruby Shoes Podcast. You have a great week.